Each DW Spectrum server is set to reserve free space within each local disk and NAS drive for storing video archives and data from connected cameras. To ensure that the DW Spectrum server can archive camera video at any given time, the system will overwrite the oldest footage in the archive with new data when the available free space of the disk drops below the set capacity of the reserved space setting that has been assigned to the media storage. In this video, we will cover the basics of what an archive is and how to adjust the reserved space of a server. Different types of archive data will be saved within each media storage location, including video archives and associated data, such as index data and analytics data. Video archives are stored video recordings that have been saved from cameras. Archives are only stored locally on the server to which the camera is connected. They are not stored across all servers within a merged system. So if a server within a merged system is removed or replaced, the system settings will be retained, but the video archives that were recorded on the old server's storage drives will not be automatically transferred or copied to the replacement server. To achieve that, another server would need to be designated as a redundant storage location. In addition to the actual video footage, index data is stored within the same drive as the corresponding archive. Index data includes record logs of motion detection, bookmarks, and other proprietary information that can be used to search for footage in the archive. Analytics data is also stored in the same drive. By default, the largest local non-system storage is used for analytics data. This includes records of events and other analytic data tied to stored archive footage. By default, approximately 10 to 30 gigabytes of free space is always preserved within the reserved space of each storage location. For NAS storage, this amount may vary between 50 to 100 gigabytes. The recommended value can be between 1% to 10% of the drive's total size. For example, 10% of a 1 terabyte drive is 100 gigabytes. Once this designated storage is full, the system will begin to overwrite the oldest footage with new archives. There is more information that you may want to know about server storage, but for now, let's go over how to set the reserved space for a server. Adjusting the reserved space of a server can be performed through the server's web admin client. This isn't to be mistaken for the DW Cloud Web Portal, which will be covered in a later lesson. Rather, this is an alternative option to using the desktop client for managing the server. To access this interface, open a web browser and connect with the server. This is done by entering the IP address of the computer that is hosting the DW Spectrum server program and the web port that is being used by the system. If you are performing this directly on the server itself, you can use the loopback IP address 127.0.0.1 for the computer. Enter the IP address, and the port number of the server. The default port number for Spectrum servers is 7001. The login screen for the Web Administrator client will display. Enter the owner administrator credentials to log into the system. Once you have logged in, select the Settings tab at the top of the screen and select the server from the left panel under Servers. You can then see the storage locations of the server. While it will appear similar to how it looks when using the Spectrum desktop client, we can access the advanced server settings using the web admin, which will allow us to adjust the reserved space of each drive. In the address bar at the top of the browser, add $advanced =$ to the end of the URL, then press the Enter key. By default, approximately 10 to 30 gigabytes of free space are always preserved within the reserved space of each storage location. For NAS storage, this amount may vary between 50 to 100 gigabytes. Once this designated storage is full, the system will begin to overwrite the oldest footage with new archives. You can increase these values to expand the amount of time that archives will remain in the server's storage before being overwritten. The recommended value should never be set to 0. Keep at least 10% of the drive's total size reserved. For example, 10% of a 1 terabyte drive is 100 gigabytes. To determine how long a server can store archive recordings, you can use the Storage Analytics tool to estimate the retention time. Using the DW Spectrum desktop client, log into your system as an administrator, then right-click on the server and select Server Settings. Select the Storage Analytics tab to view the storage analysis. In this menu, you can identify and compare camera bit rates, estimate the amount of time that a server can store data from given devices, assess the storage space that each camera consumes, and predict the amount of time that a server can store recordings. The Current Statistics tab will show the total number of cameras connected to the server, total space used for archive storage, and the total streaming rate of all cameras at the bottom of the window. Each camera will also have its own statistics shown. You can use this information to determine if more storage is needed, or just for a general understanding of how long the server will retain video recordings. If you are considering adding more storage to the server, you can use the Storage Analytics menu to predict how it will increase the retention time for each camera and for the server. Select the Forecast for Full Storage Usage tab in the Storage Analytics menu. The total number of cameras and space required to archive footage is shown at the bottom of the window, similarly to how it appeared in the Current Statistics tab. In the Base Forecast on Data Recorded field at the bottom, you can tell the calculator to use the statistics from the last 5 minutes, hour, 24 hours, or the longest period available to determine the storage forecast. Use the slider or manually enter the amount of additional storage in terabytes that you are considering for the server. The amount of space and archive duration for each camera and for the server will update as the values in the two settings are changed. This video should have provided you with a basic understanding of archive storage, how to adjust reserved space, and how to estimate the amount of time that footage can be stored on a server. Depending on your security needs, you can use this information to determine if more storage is needed and to further manage your server. In the following lesson, you will learn about reindexing the archive as well as how saving system settings, device configurations, and more by creating a database backup can help you to better manage your DW Spectrum system.